Hi, I am Gonzalez. Earlier, I was sitting here in the same exact study room. I was just ready to record my video when I remembered that I had signed up to go to an event. This event was to meet a celebrity here on at the UT campus. His name is Niall DeMarco. Of course, I wanted to go meet him. So as I was here about to start my reality, trying to get away from my reality, which was this video project final, I start to think and I start to imagine.
Wait, if I go to this event, what if Niall DeMarco spots me from the crowd? From the thousands of people there, what if he spots me from the crowd, calls me up on stage, asks for my number, or just simply follows me on Instagram?
If I don't go, this would never happen. So, of course, my imagination takes me places and I stop what I'm doing and I go to this event. And I come back to record my video and I'm sitting here still thinking about the event. And I think,
wow, did I really just meet Niall DeMarco here at UT campus out of all places? Did I really just hear a celebrity tell me his life story? Did I really just go meet a celebrity? Did that really just happen?
of course, after I came back and started to think about this event, it almost seemed unreal, like it was all just a dream, like it never really happened. And so with that, we will get into my topic. So you might be wondering how this can possibly relate to my topic. My topic is, can we relate our dreams to our imagination and our nightmares to our reality? So when I say this, I mean, when you think of the word nightmare, what comes to mind? An online newspaper from the UK called The Independent states that psychologists usually define a nightmare as a terrifying dream. So this kind of separates the two different terms of a dream and a nightmare. So a nightmare has a negative connotation to the word, while a dream has a positive connotation. And why is this? Differences between .info states that, like I said earlier, nightmares have a negative connotation. Therefore, this website says, a nightmare is an unpleasant or frightening dream, which that gives us the definition of a nightmare, and a dream is just the opposite of that. So if a nightmare is unpleasant, then a dream must be pleasant. So when you have a nightmare, it's usually not something you can control. It is not a happy outcome. And on the other hand, your dream is something that you imagine to be great. It can be anything you imagine. It has a happy outcome because you imagine it how you want it to be. So this is the difference between a dream and a nightmare, and I'm going to be talking about this through the two clips that we saw in class. The first clip from Trainspotting, and the second clip from American Psycho, but for American Psycho, I'm just going to be talking about the entire movie in general. So we will first start off with talking about the movie American Psycho and the main character, Patrick Bateman. So Patrick Bateman's reality revolves around his career. His career being, he does something on Wall Street, which we all know has to do with business, very competitive, probably very stressful. So with this stress comes frustration to Patrick Bateman because we see that his competitors, specifically Paul Allen, are starting to surpass him in this business world. So escapes his reality in a sense by simply killing Paul Allen. So yes, this is how he finds his happiness. However, the ending of the movie does not really give justice as to what truly happens. So Cinema Blend tells us that we don't really know how the movie ends. We don't know what happens because Patrick Bateman is a lunatic and is very unstable, therefore we cannot trust the story that he is telling us. So, like I said, did he really kill Paul Allen, or was it just a figment of his imagination used to allow him to escape from reality in a very unhealthy way? So, since we don't really know what happens at the end of American Psycho, the ending leaves us very confused and it is a very ambiguous ending. So, therefore, it leaves us wondering, was it his reality that paraded through the surface, or was it his imagination? So this leaves us wondering, can they be mixed together? Can they combine? And what happens when they do combine? This leaves us with dream reality confusion, or DRC, which is a difficulty or inability to determine whether an event or experience occurred during the waking state or whether it was part of a dream. And this is from Frontiers Media. So, in other words, was he confused about his reality and his confusion? And was he so unstable that he was not able to tell the difference of which is which? So we can compare this to my first example by comparing Patrick Bateman to me. So, could Patrick Bateman have just been sitting in his house, in his home, trying to relieve his stress by just merely picturing himself killing Paul Allen? And since he is a lunatic, it probably seemed very realistic, although it wasn't. Or was he confused about both things? This leads us to something called dream reality confusion, as I was left when I wondered if I actually saw Niall DeMarco. So dream reality confusion is a difficulty or inability to determine whether or not an experience occurred during the waking state or whether it was part of a dream. In other words, did what I just witnessed happen in real life or in my dream? And that can be very scary because that can cause you to lash out or act upon something that you think might not be real but is definitely and entirely real. And we see a similar situation in the 1996 film Trainspotting, which was also shown to us in class. So in the film Trainspotting, we see the main character going through drug withdrawals as he is in bed trying to recover from this. So according to Addictions and Recovery, drug withdrawals are when your body cannot function correctly without the drug that you've been addicted to in your in other words, your body becomes dependent on the drug and you cannot survive without the drug, or so it may seem. Shows us the side effects of what happens when you stop using drugs. There are some minor side effects such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, almost fever-like symptoms, but there are also some very severe symptoms such as very serious. Or his dream, part of it, is that he wishes that he could have these drugs back in his system. He calls out to his parents that he just needs one more shot, one more shot. And although that seems very realistic, again, the main character is very unstable, so we don't really know what's true and what's not. So again, this leads us to imagination, our dreams are something that as you can see from my example and from the two examples from class, when this imaginative state and reality state intertwine, we don't exactly know 100% what's true and what's not, which can cause us to be very unstable and cause us to act out on certain things that we wouldn't normally do when we are stable and at our 100%.